Okay, so you're 28, 29,
Yeah.
right? And you decide to leave.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do that?
I'm a kind of person that if I have an idea, I have to do it. Once I start, I can't stop. Because if I lose the momentum, I don't know when I'm gonna get that momentum again. I was like, okay, I think this is a great business idea. I have to do it. It costs a little bit of money, but I'd rather do it than regret. And the moment I posted it, it just for some reason it blew up on Airbnb experiences. And I saw my Airbnb calendar was like 2 months booked out. I was like, oh shit.
Thank you guys for joining us on Untitled Success Season 2. With me is Chef Daiji. He does sushi on a boat. We're going to get to a lot of the different intricate things that he does. And I think you guys will be thoroughly surprised. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
It's my honor.
Yeah. So the very first question I always like to ask everyone is, who were you in high school?
Who am I in high school?
Yeah. Were you the quiet one? Were you the loud one?
I think I'm more on the quiet side. And I play tennis. I study pretty hard. But I would say just like kind of average high school student.
Okay.
Yeah.
One thing nobody knows about you,
Yeah.
which I thought was really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Can you tell the people how many countries you've been to throughout your life?
How many countries? Okay.
Like, where were you born? Where did you go to high school? Where were you 21, 25? Because I thought that was kind of interesting.
Okay. How many countries? Okay, so Japan, right?
Right?
But I was born in the United States. I was born in Los Altos, California.
Okay.
And I moved to Japan when I was like 6 months old. And then I grew up there until I was like early 20s. And then by the time I think I went to like Indonesia, Australia, USA, and then I actually moved to Romania. I don't know if I told you this.
Yeah, that's the part that I thought was crazy.
Yeah. Romania, and I lived there for 4 years for my career. And yeah, so that's like not much. But I went to Italy. Where else did I go to in Europe? Switzerland. I've been to Switzerland. Yeah, and then I came to the States. And last year I went to your country, Egypt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have fun?
Oh yeah. Egypt was the like, you know, now it's been almost a year. And Egypt was such a unique place.
Very unique.
Yeah, very. It comes very later that how good that country was.
Yeah.
You know, because when I went there, because the country is very different from most countries.
Yes.
Right. I don't know if it's the right way to say it, but is it safe to say it's a third world country?
Definitely a third world country.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely not used to that environment. So that was a little bit uncomfortable. So I think that was different, style of living there is completely different from like American standard.
Egypt is one of the only places where you can be in a car, don't know where you're going, and it's really dirty. It's really dirty. And then you can find yourself on the beach, on the water, and it feels like you're in Newport.
Oh yeah.
And it's like there's such a vast difference from like poverty. Like poverty here is like middle class in Egypt.
Yeah.
Right? And like you can find yourself like in some places and you're like, wow, this is really, really dirty. Yeah. But it's like, it's unique because everyone just is constantly moving all the time.
Yeah.
But
so many people.
Yeah.
And really hot. Yeah.
Before you started your venture, like breaking off on your own and doing sushi on a boat and all these other things, what was your like 9 to 5?
Right before that was I was a sushi chef. at this Japanese omakase restaurant. Omakase is just a Japanese term of chef's choice. So it's a set course menu restaurant in little Japantown,
Okay.
the corner of Japantown in San Francisco.
Okay.
So I was working there. Yeah, that's basically my 9 to 5 for like a year.
And how old were you when you were doing this?
I was, how old was I? So that was 5 years ago. 5 years ago. I was at the time, I think 28 or 29.
28, 29?
Yeah.
So like right before COVID, basically.
I was after actually.
After?
2020, I started working. So right before my recent venture, if you're asking me about that, then that's the most recent job. Of course, I had a couple other, chef jobs through my training period.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was the most recent kind of 9 to 5 job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're 28, a year into it, and you decide to leave and start your own.
29. Sorry, I was 29. Yeah.
29. By the way, did you know me and him are the same age?
No. He looks way younger.
I know. we were sitting at a restaurant, and he's like, "How old are you?" I was like, "Oh, 34." He's like, "I'm 34." I was like, "No, you're not." Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, crap, we're the same age." I didn't know that. Okay, so you're 28, 29.
Yeah.
Right? And you decide to leave.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do that?
So I was running this business idea on the side for maybe, I want to say 2 years, which essentially became Daiji Uehara Club in Omakase on a boat. It's a catering company and to do a lot of unique dining experiences across California. And so I was kind of testing the idea at the time. And I bought this little boat from St. Petersburg, Florida. And that was in November of 2021.
Okay.
It was a cheap boat. So I was like.
You bought it?
I bought it.
And this is in San Francisco?
This is, San Francisco Bay Area. It's Alameda.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, because I'm a kind of person that if I have an idea, I have to do it. I have that, I don't know, in a way, kind of impulsive. Like for example, like even the video you were talking about right earlier, once I started, I can't stop. So I was doing, that was like 3 a.m. and then I thought, okay, I'm going to finish this. So I was up until like 5 a.m. Because if I lose the momentum, I don't know when I'm going to get that momentum again.
Okay.
So I've always known that momentum is very important. So I was like, okay, I think this is a great business idea. I have to do it. It costs a little bit of money, but I'd rather do it than regret. So I bought it. This was when I was still employed as a sushi chef. Okay. Yeah, and I started on the side to host the dining experience on the boat. And the moment I posted it, that was at the time Airbnb experiences. So I was a very early adopter of Airbnb experiences too. And it just for some reason blew up on Airbnb experiences. And I saw my Airbnb calendar was like 2 months booked out. I was like, oh shit, I have to quit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I want to focus on this season more than anything is that the steps, right? And so you're a chef, right? You're making some money. You don't have to say how much money you're making, but are you living paycheck to paycheck or are you living somewhat comfortable?
Oh, you mean right now?
No, when you were working.
As a sushi chef?
Yeah.
I would say pretty comfortable.
Okay.
Even like at the standard at the time, like I had, I thought if I could make that money, I could have been really just happy for like the next couple of years or even decade.
Oh, so you were making more money there?
No, not more, but it was good, like pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for like average chef salary and tips included, I would say sushi chefs in the Bay Area make pretty good.
Okay. And then you decided once you started booking out that you have to quit this job.
Yeah.
But did you ever say like, okay, I might have a season and this could make me, let's just say, for example, 100,000 for the year. And this one is, for example, making me 120.
Yeah.
Am I really about to give up this 120 for this idea?
Yeah.
Is that kind of how the feeling felt? Or did you just say like, hey, F it, worst case scenario, I could be a chef again?
Yeah, so the good, I think my advantage was that I kind of already seen the bottom during the pandemic. So during the pandemic, I was driving Uber for like a year.
Okay.
I didn't have a job, but I was still working on that idea. So I knew, worst case, I with my car and with my two hands and two legs, I can make some living, right? So and yeah, the amount of money I could have made with the 9 to 5 job didn't really concern me much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have this idea for doing it on Airbnb. It's not on the boat yet.
That's on the bill. So Airbnb experiences.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's like that's a part of Airbnb where you can browse and book like tour guides, private chefs, or very unique local experiences. So I was one of the hosts.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's how it started.
And you booked eight months out.
That was like on Airbnb 2 months. Basically, whatever the amount of months that I open, it books up pretty quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
What gave you the idea to do sushi on a boat? Like, what made you think like, hey, you know, it'd be cool, sushi on a boat?
So I've been always a chef my entire life, but I didn't really I wasn't really, so the idea of this old school, you know, opening a restaurant, I didn't see that as like a prize because I've done it once already.
Which is very ironic because we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, you did that too. Yeah, so I just wanted something to create something that's a little more interesting, and personally, something that I would personally excited about. You know,
What was your first dinner yacht look like? What did that look like to you?
yeah, I remember that. I mean, I still remember. I mean, I still kind of keep in touch with that very first customer I had.
Okay.
Yeah. That was 2 couples. I remember, I would never forget. That was Christmas of 2021. So I created this Airbnb experience listing on Airbnb. That was like maybe December 22nd or 3rd of 2021. I was like, okay, I'll test it out. I'll see who books it.
In December?
Yeah.
So it's not hot.
It's not hot.
It's cold.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'll see. You know, if someone books it on Christmas Day, I'll do it. I have nothing else to do, right? and then like when I woke up, I already had like a few bookings. I was like, shoot, really? You know. So yeah. So to answer your question, the first dinner was just 2 couples in Alameda on my small little boat, 25 feet, Sea Ray, Sundancer. I could barely fit. Like I have to kind of, you know, go lower in order for me to serve.
Okay.
I have pictures.
You have pictures?
Yeah. It's not a nice boat that you were on in Newport. It's not like that.
Okay.
It's a very tiny boat.
Okay.
So I prepared 10 course omakase for that 2 couples, and I had them help them take pictures. But that was my very first dining experience in person on a boat like that. So
Okay.
Man, I think I did a terrible job, to be honest.
It just always seems like that when you start something and you look back, you're like, that first time wasn't that great of an experience, right?
Yeah.
And I would assume probably because, like, one, you did it through Airbnb, so there's no contract except between you and Airbnb.
Yeah.
Right? They're taking a piece of whatever you're charging. You're kind of figuring out what you need to get done.
Yeah.
Right? But I also find that, like, on the other side of things, they might have thought this was the best experience of their life.
Yeah, I think so.
So
Yeah.
it's very interesting to see the different perspective
Yeah.
from one side to the other. And so when when you do that first boat, right? This first yacht experience, you've grown so much since then. Like,
Since since then, yeah.
like ample amount. Not only are you in the Bay Area, you're in Southern California, like Costa or Newport,
Yeah.
right? What's the biggest struggles you've gone through when doing this process?
What's the biggest struggle? There's so many. There's so many.
So many.
Yeah.
So let's take it step by step then.
Yeah.
So you do the first one. You're still booked 2 months out.
So when I first opened it, I think at the time I opened 3 months ahead. So I never opened like, hey, next 12 months we are available.
Only 3 months ahead.
Max,
Okay.
very max, yeah. So
And you were booked up.
pretty much, yeah, pretty much towards the end of the year, yeah, pretty much.
So you're doing this. Did you ever get fatigued, tired in doing that?
Yeah. I had, I got food poisoning.
Oh no.
I got like this back issue. I couldn't like get up next day. This was very early, maybe February or March of 2022.
Okay.
And I ended up canceling that event. Yeah.
Did you think you're like, hey, maybe I should just go back to work and cancel this whole thing?
No.
Okay.
No.
So the one beginning struggle is just health.
So that was just like one incident. I wouldn't
Okay.
say, I wouldn't even describe that as like the biggest struggle or, obstacle. But the first, can we talk about like the first biggest big struggle? The first one, I would say, I think figuring out the business model was pretty interesting to me.
Okay.
So I've tested it many different ways for the company to make money.
Okay.
So I would say that was probably the
How did you test it? Like, what made you?
Yeah.
What made you test it? One, I would assume, when you first did it, you didn't have an LLC. For example, you didn't have a company name.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Somewhere along the lines, you said, hey, I need to have a company name. Right? And then somewhere along the lines, you said, I need to stop doing Airbnb experience and do it on your own website,
Yeah.
I would assume. So then that, to me, is always the first part of like boggling down the business experience, right? So what was the biggest struggle from then on in building the business?
So from then on, so one good thing was that we had the money coming in.
Yeah.
We had the business. So okay, that part is taken care of. Like we have the demand, and okay, how are we gonna make sure that we have enough supply? So that was the food, and the next thing is a chef. And
Okay.
food is rather easy. I wouldn't say it's too easy, but it's more controllable.
Okay.
But the second part, the chef, it's much harder to control.
Okay.
So freaking hard. So first, I started contracting the chefs,
Okay.
just like kind of like how Uber works. You know how Uber drivers are contractors, right?
Right.
And they're kind of hired to pay and pick up a customer from point A to point B. And so I was just giving the contractor chef a job to fulfill one of the dining events we had. We've seen good results, but it was not really, how do you say, consistent.
Right.
Because it varies depending on the chef, right? Yeah, and also like the pay structure too. It was company was not making much money because I have to make sure I pay the chef.
Plus the food.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So at the time when I first started contracting, so as you know, the contracting is like you shoulder all the costs. So meaning you shoulder the food cost, you shoulder your labor, everything, and then for that, just ramp it up and then I pay you, right?
Right.
So that was the first model. But I tested out towards like just entire year 2022. But I figured it doesn't work out financially.
Okay.
I wasn't losing money, but it wasn't making that much money either.
So how did you change the model?
I hired them. I employed them. I W-2 them.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, hey, I give you a salary, and like you work for my company full time or part time, right? So that way, I can give them peace of mind that they've got the job, and just streamlining the experience in general. Because at the time when I first started, there are like different types of dining experiences depending on the chef. This chef has 10 courses, this chef has like 12 courses, and so it was a little bit also confusing. So I decided to just streamline. So this is what we do. This is 14 course, and all of our chefs are trained to do one thing: to serve 14 courses on a boat. So I started training the chef that way, and then we started seeing the results. More consistent. People know what to expect, and company was fairly making money. So that was financially healthy overall. Yeah.
How did you end up going from Northern California to Southern California?
Yeah.
And how did you make that jump?
Yeah.
Also, how did you split your time?
How do I split my time? I don't even know, man.
Yeah.
So, so that was 2023, and 2023 was, I've never worked so hard in my life.
2023.
Yeah.
Okay. So can we say 2022 was all in Northern California?
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay.
So end of December, I started the business development in Southern California.
Okay.
And it wasn't even like my idea. I was just asking my customers, like, where should I go next? And like, where do you think I should do this? And so many people were asking me, Marina Del Rey, Newport, and like Miami. And
Yeah.
this is before we met.
Yeah.
You know?
Still before we met.
Yeah. And and then I had this one friend that was like that works for BC,
What's BC?
like venture capital.
Oh, okay. VC.
And and he's very passionate about like business model and business development and like startups in general. So he's always so kind enough to like help me connect with people. So he introduced me to this one of the like startup advisors in LA. So I met her. Yeah, we had like a Zoom call for the first time, and then I eventually drove all the way down just to meet her, and just kind of casually just introduced myself, and then telling her the business idea and what I was doing with Daiji Uehara. And and so I told her like maybe I want to do something in LA. Like, what do you think? And she's saying, I actually know someone in like Newport. So if you're interested, I can help you connect. Okay, I'll be down. And then she immediately called up, actually texted that person, and hey, I have this friend Daiji. I'm speaking with him right now. He wants to do something in Newport. You guys should connect. And I messaged him, and I'll drive to you tomorrow. And I think I've met next day or a day after.
Okay.
I went to his house, and he also has a boat. So I kind of pitched him the business idea, but he was a little bit skeptical, to be honest. So he passed that idea to someone he knew. And I met that person again. But that was actually, I had to go back to the Bay Area and then made a comeback maybe like in a week or two.
Okay.
And I met him, and he liked the business idea. And I said, okay, no pressure. I'll do the free dinner for you. I have no expectation. If you like it, we'll do it. But if you don't like it, no pressure. But let me just host the dinner for you. No charge to you.
On his boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
On his boat. And I did that in December. All I ask is that let me film. Let me take the content, right? And then I did that, and he liked it. And then and I think we released the first round of booking, I think January of 2023. We did well. And from there, kind of slowly, from like seasonal to like almost every other month to entire summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you built your brand from there.
Yeah.
And so how did you manage your time here now and manage your time in Northern California?
Right now?
Oh, in 2023.
2023, in 2023, I had 2 employees at the time in Northern California. So those 2 guys were handling the dining events mainly. But I would say 70% were handled by them, and maybe 30% by myself. But all the Newport events were just me.
Just you?
Yeah, just me. From like, all weekend. From Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometime Monday. From lunch seating, dinner seating, and I go back and sleep and wake up and
Do it again?
do it again, yeah.
Did it ever feel exhausting? Did it ever feel like you had self-doubt? Like, is this going to really work?
I was sick as hell at that time, March of 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just like taking medicines to just keep pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did I have a doubt? Did I have a doubt?
Like in 2023, while you're going through this, right? And I'm assuming you're making relatively great money in Northern California. You're testing the waters in Southern California, right? I think one of the things when I hear people talk about their businesses is that sometimes they lay their head down at night, and some of them are 10 toes deep in the business that they're working on, and they're just like, I don't know if I should be doing this. Like, I don't know if this is it worth, for example, me starting my own business and going through the trials and tribulations, or just sticking to this 9 to 5, and I know what the income I'm going to get. Right. So in that aspect, did you ever have any self-doubt of saying like, hey, maybe this is not for me?
Well, because my motivation was not money. So I think I get it. But I think
What was your motivation?
my motivation was to kind of prove something to myself that I can create something big and interesting. Because I think that comparison is interesting.
Okay.
But I think simply put, that person is putting 9 to 5 and entrepreneurship on the equivalent of like how much money I can make more.
Right.
But it was never that way for me. It was more about having the ownership of my life. And I was really okay just if I can pay my bill and can do what I like to do, I was completely okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So at least for like, few years. Yeah.
When you're doing the sushi on the yacht,
Yeah.
what do you do to make sure that you have the top quality ingredients all the time? Is there a market that you shop with? Is there certain things that you make sure to keep the ingredients top notch?
Yeah. So I have a few, fish suppliers from Japan that I maintain really good relationship with. So I trust them. Of course, I have my, like criteria for what I like and what I need. But yeah, so it's to maintain that relationship is very important. And just in general, like, taste your food.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So you
Because
said,
I don't serve what I don't taste. Yeah.
okay.
So, I mean, I think it's normal if you're a chef. I don't think you should ever serve something that you never taste. So every batch of fish, I taste everything, So that way I know what they're eating.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So a lot of people do great things, right? But there's certain things that make a person stand out. And I think this idea makes you stand out extremely different than anyone else. Does anyone else do this other than you?
I'm sure there are. I think it's not a rocket science. It's just sushi on a boat. So I don't think my uniqueness is the idea, but I think the uniqueness is actually, at least from what I've seen on my social media and stuff, I think the story and how I do it.
Can you dive deeper into that?
Yeah. I think a lot of very early adopters that still to this day, my friends and my good customers, they like it. They like the idea because they know where I come from. Like I was sushi chef in Japantown, and I was like driving Uber and
Yeah.
you know, and I still serve those people, right? So it's probably the combination of that personal attachment. But I think, I mean, I know a few crazy entrepreneurial stories, but I think what I've done here in California might be also a little bit interesting. So that's something that, and I think it's a very California thing or American thing that people like to support this kind of stuff. Because I told this to a lot of people that I don't think this would have worked in Japan.
You don't think so? Because of the personal brand.
No, I think the idea. So there are very specific things that American people appreciate. What I notice here in America versus.
Which is?
So in Japan, it's more about pure value of the product.
Okay.
So, in another word, it's cheaper the better if it's for the same product, if it's for the same quality. So there's not much that like, I don't know, novelty. It's like, because Americans they
pay for the experience.
Yeah, they pay for the experience.
They pay for you. They want to have you like give them the show, and they're okay with paying for that price.
Yeah.
Versus in Japan, they're like, this bluefin tuna is a bluefin tuna.
Yeah.
I just want whatever the cost is.
Yeah.
I don't care about the experience.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if that answered your question. But yeah,
we talk about this quite a bit, right?
Yeah,
like, so, you know my fears, right? Like going into this, I say there's a million podcasts, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that you tell me is like, hey, you know what? Everyone has a different flavor.
Yeah.
Right. And so you might be someone else's flavor. And so that's what you should be banking on is like you're those specific people's flavors.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's what you're kind of alluding to is that.
Yeah.
As you're going through this process, right? 2023, 2024, what is the wildest request you've ever gotten?
From my client?
From your clients?
Wildest? I had a few requests from these boat owners from other side of the country and other side of the world. Can you come and cook on my boat?
No way.
Yeah, there are a few.
Like a whole different country.
Yeah. I had like one in when was it? I think that was actually American, but American person, but he wanted to hire me for his excursion in Greece or something. Yeah.
You didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
Do you regret it?
No.
Would you?
No.
Today, would you do it?
Depends on what that package looks like, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who was the most memorable client to you, other than me, of course? But
I was just gonna say you. And David. Yeah. No, seriously, you guys were really amazing.
I don't know, like you get hundreds of clients, bro. We're not that amazing.
I like people with great energy, and I just appreciate it so much. It's very rare. I think in general, I think people in SoCal, they have great positive energy compared to. So I don't say people in the Bay Area have like negative energy or whatever. They don't. They're more
different energy.
They're more quiet.
Okay.
They have more quiet energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, people in Southern California, especially in OC, I mean, Orange County has treated me so beautifully and nicely, and I'm so grateful for it.
Which I'm surprised you haven't like officially moved here and was like, hey, you know what, Northern California, it was great, and I'm gonna spend more time in Southern California.
I mean, which I did in 2023 and also in 2024.
Right.
Yeah.
Before the restaurant.
Yeah. Before the restaurant, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but wait for it. I'll do more here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I think this is a good opportunity to really like to say thank you to the Orange County community, because they've been treating me really nicely.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful for that. And one of the reasons I think my business did well was not only because I had great partners with the boats, but also, not to mention, great people, great customers. But all these like media and the social media influencers that were really warm enough to support me. Yeah, just to name a few. Yeah, I mean, local magazine it's the first company that actually they reached out to me that they wanted to help me.
Really?
Yeah.
Welcome magazine?
Yeah,
Okay.
Eric Hill from local magazine. They used to be just paper magazine, but they completely turned into
Online?
social media, which I think is very smart. And by the way, he has really good story to tell.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You should definitely consider reaching out to him.
Okay.
Yeah, his local was great. I mean, there's so many. There's so many.
One of the things that we talk about, especially on our last lunch meeting, is like tapping into different social media influencers,
Yeah.
right? And so you have quite a bit of few influencers that have come and did the boat and,
Yep.
and promoted,
Yeah.
and you have quite a bit of following in regards to that. Like, how would you tell someone to build that part of the business where it's like, hey, okay, I've reached out to 20 influencers. Am I doing it correctly? Right? Oh, no, you should do it this way. Oh, okay, you should start promoting this way. You should start outputting this way. Like, what would you tell that person if they want to reach out to like influencers and things of that nature?
I think it's a very good question, and I was just thinking about what advice I would give. So it's funny that you said you said you reached out to 20 different influencers.
Not me personally,
yeah,
but like I hear stories where people are saying like, no one's getting back to me.
Okay, so I know, and I follow closely like those, what's happening in social media and small businesses and how they can leverage influencers to get more business. So I hear a lot of advices, and I think one of the advice that I hear online is just reach out to like 100 different influencers.
Yeah.
I think it's not wrong, but it's a lazy advice in my opinion.
Okay.
Because to reach out to 100 influencers, it takes a lot of time. Not only takes a lot of time, it takes your effort, your energy. It takes a lot of resources, right? If you take all that resource to focus on honing your products, and I know this might not be something that most audiences looking to hear, but that's what I was focusing on when I was working on my idea.
Okay.
Because when I first started, it wasn't even sushi on the boat. I was just trying to do like a food delivery service. And of course, I reached out to like few influencers. Like very few people responded back to me. But I wasn't really too focusing on getting someone to promote my business. Because if you think about it, if your product is good, they would want to promote it because at the end, for influencers, it's their job to promote, right?
Right.
So if you think about it, what makes their job easier? To have a better product. If you have good product, it's very easy to promote, right? So I would focus more on perfecting your product.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so basically you're saying don't focus on the influencers at all.
I don't think so. I think at the very beginning, I don't think you need to focus on influencers.
Some would say, I get it, but like these people could help me go to the next level,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, sure.
And so it's like, okay, should they just not do it at all? Should they like if you're in your position 2023, right? Where you're making relatively good money, you're in Southern California, you're in Northern California, would you reach out to these influencers?
At the time?
Yeah?
2023. 2023, I wasn't. So
Would you tell yourself to
not reach out to them?
No, yeah. Would you go back and tell yourself don't reach out or do reach out?
That's a good question. I think in 2023 at the time, probably I would have given a different answer.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's how do you say that strategy is like good for short term. So you can, I mean, you might be able to get some boost and get some revenues, but if your product is not good enough, like people are not going to return.
Okay.
And I know this might sound boring, but I think having done this business for now almost 4 years, that's how I would analyze my what was happening. Yeah.
So fast forward,
Yeah.
you think the restaurant tradition is kind of not it,
Yeah.
right? And you do the sushi on the boat.
Yeah.
And then what did you decide to do? You bought a restaurant.
Yeah. I did.
So take me through that that experience.
So yes, I did take over the restaurant, but my motivation was completely different.
Yeah.
Which I might have told you, right? I didn't. I bought the restaurant out of necessity, which is to secure the talent. That was the number one thing. So, meaning because that was one of the struggles I had at the time in 2023, 2024. That, I mean, I couldn't really complain. I think we're doing a good job, but not at the level I wanted to. And I was always looking for ways to acquire really good talents. Really, specifically, chefs that are better than me. Yeah, I wanted to work with someone that's better than me.
It's a very interesting take because most people would be afraid of that.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I started look like where are those people, right? They're relatively older, because so in the restaurant industry you can't really skip that years of experience. Even with all these social media and tutorials and everything, in theory you might understand how to cut fish.
Yeah.
But you need a lot of repetition to master that. So you can't really replace that mastery. So they have to be a little bit relatively older. And they're working at this Japanese high-end restaurants.
What's the restaurant that you bought? Do you want to say the name?
Yeah, Hiroshi in Los Altos.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I wasn't actually actively looking, but a mutual friend of mine told me, hey, this friend of mine is looking to sell the business. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah, sure, I'll take a look. And I went. This was February of 2024. Yeah. We ate there. That was amazing. Yeah, and then we started due diligences. And yeah, within like 3 months, we already made a deal. And since August, I'm the new owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how's that been so far?
Great. I mean, it's not only great. There had been a lot of work to do. It wasn't perfect, and that's why the business was for sale, because it was not. It was not perfect.
So okay. So you have a restaurant.
Yeah.
You have Daiji Club. Okay.
Yeah.
So in Northern California, Southern California.
Yeah.
And you have to fly back out every so often, or vice versa, and maintain a restaurant.
Yeah.
And then I can tell you from experience, the first 6 months in a restaurant, you need to be there.
Yeah.
Almost day and night.
Yep.
How in the world did you, one, balance that? And number two, what changes did you make at the restaurant?
I love the questions, man. So the restaurant, for the first 6 months, it's interesting. Even starting with Daiji Uehara and Hiroshi and everything, I think I've taken really unconventional ways to run the business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I took over the restaurant, that was August of 2024. But I was already actively involved in management since May of 2024. So before the deal was complete and officially I became the owner, I was already working with the the employees.
But why? Why would you work with the employees if you didn't own the restaurant?
Well, why not? That way I can have a jump start.
Are you saying you were going to start the process of buying the restaurant, so you started working with them? It's not like you helped them on your own without anything, right?
Oh yeah.
Your intention was to buy the restaurant.
Oh yeah. So
Okay.
So how it works is, for those who are not familiar with the restaurant purchase process.
Yeah.
So you and I agree on like price to
Okay.
purchase business, and then from there, due diligence is whatever you want to start. It starts, and then the paperwork. That's where the paperwork starts. That's transferring the alcohol license, business license. There are a few things like escrow, opening up the escrow,
Sure.
getting approval from the
landlord,
landlord.
right.
So there are many paperwork. So it takes normally a good 3 months. But I didn't want to waste time. I didn't want to wait for 3 months, because 3 months, like, I can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I started building a relationship with the employees, just to kind of make the transition smooth when the sales is complete. So even before it was complete in August, it was already like basically like my restaurant, because I was managing it, and I already knew what to expect from every employee, because I know I had pretty good idea of who they are and what their skills are. So it's not like I had to start from scratch in August.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
What's the best advice? For business?
Anything.
So we talked about how risky businesses are, and it's very scary to start something without safety net, right?
Yeah.
And I think what sticks to me to this day is, so when you might succeed or you fail, but if you put all of your energy and effort and your skills and your intelligence into the business, and you basically put 150%, and let's say you fail, but because you worked on it, you have like millions of better, your mind is million times better than how you were before. So yeah, maybe you didn't make money, but you're like 1,000 times smarter. And I think that's very priceless, and people don't really talk about the value of the lessons from the mistakes, and just the benefit that you get from being that journey of entrepreneurship. Because I just love the ride. Even if this wouldn't make money, like, I would still do the same.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't want to lose money, but as
Yeah.
long as I can pay my bill and stay healthy, at least for like maybe next. I mean, as long as I'm young, I'm not old yet.
Yeah.
So then that could have been a little bit different. And also, I have no like family responsibility, so it's a little bit different, because like you're married, you have
Baby.
you have
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a different.
It's different, but I think overall, the mindset would be, I think it would be the same for me.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you have the restaurant, you have these 2 locations, right? What does this look like in 10 years for you, if you fast forward? What kind of big plans do you have moving forward to take you to the next level?
Yeah. Oh man.
Most people actually in your position would be happy and be like, hey, I'm done. I'm okay. I don't want to grow anymore. But you are not like that at all.
In 10 years, I mean, sure, in one word, I think grow. But man, I have no idea, man. 10 years. I mean, sure, the same industry for sure.
Okay.
Same food, food industry, restaurant industry. I don't know if it would be the form of like the restaurant, traditional restaurant.
Yeah.
But in some form, I want to be always part of people's dining experience and just make small differences in people's life through food and dining experiences.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're good at it. Yeah, because we don't really see food as our product, but we see the experience, that transformational, like we basically help them have a great time.
Right.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I know, like you asked me, how important it is to have quality food products and ingredients, but I think actually that part is really important.
We kind of touched on this a little bit, right? And obviously we could spend at least 3 hours talking about this specific subject, but I kind of just want to briefly touch on it. You mentioned how AI is continuously growing and how you're using it part of the business, right? In our conversation prior to the podcast, how is AI helping you specifically for your business to grow?
To grow.
Yeah. Or how do you think it will help you?
Yeah, I'll tell you how it's been helping me right now.
Okay.
First, I mean, the simple example is that I spend much less time on emails.
Okay.
I mean, there are a bunch of different email softwares, AI-powered softwares, where you write up. And I'm not talking about using ChatGPT. I'm talking about the application. It's basically email software that's AI-powered, that's hooked up with whatever your email host is, Gmail or whatever. It just, it saves your time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing what that?
Yeah. How they look like?
Yeah.
So so the one is called Superhuman.
Superhuman.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've tested many. So I mean, Google Gemini has that. Google Gemini has a built-in, but I don't really like Google Gemini, for example, for some reasons. So Superhuman, what it does is that it's basically an email app, right? And you open up, I have the email from you, but it would take at least 10 minutes to write that down, right?
Yeah.
In a professional like format.
100%.
But with that app, I can just kind of write the summary, like, "Hey Tim, got it. I'll be there tomorrow at 3 p.m. Like, let me know what else you need." That's basically the whole key summary of the emails. But the software creates the really professional email within like 5 seconds.
Superhuman.
Yeah, Superhuman.
Okay. So AI has helped you with your email.
Yeah.
To move quicker. And then what else has it done?
What else? I mean, I use AI, ChatGPT, to a lot of actually like decision making.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah. So just reading contract. So before I give that to my attorney, I use ChatGPT first. And so I kind of also have my my own understanding of what that contract looks like. And then I think negotiation is actually really good.
What do you mean?
So to use ChatGPT to negotiate your term.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you doing that?
Yeah. So I was in a purchase agreement.
Yeah.
And I put down and I actually not fought with ChatGPT, but I was like, I want you to consider yourself her. What are your fears about this contract?
Yeah.
And then how would you delegate that or mitigate that? Sorry. And we would go back and forth. And sometimes what I'll do is I don't have the paid version, which you're kind of enticing me to do the paid version.
Yeah.
But I'll put on the speaker, right? And I'll put it in the car. And I was like, talk to me. And we'll just talk back and forth.
Yeah.
And so
that's a very good way to actually use it.
Yeah.
So I use that as kind of like a note taker too. So once I get off the important meeting, I just give ChatGPT an update. So it kind of creates the note summary, right? And because those are ongoing projects, I keep those chats separately.
Okay.
I name it differently.
Okay.
It's like it's not one-off. So it's like you and I are negotiating like dinner, right? And then I have the chat window called like dinner with Tim, and I will give that chat meeting summary, and the next day I give them update. So it has a consistent memory of how the deal is going. So it more acts like a human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
And now, how can this help you in the future for your business?
I think content big time.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, you saw it, right?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's just like one of them.
Okay.
Pictures, videos.
Other than what you posted today, where it like took you from where you started to all of that, like how have you used AI to help for your content and all of that?
Other than that,
Other than that one today.
so I think I think I've seen a lot on social media that people posting like animated version of. I think you done it too, right? I thought David did that too.
I think David did that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Is that ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think those are really cool ideas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those are cool. But I think the video. I think so. What I know about, I mean, I'm not a technologist or anything, but one thing I noticed about AI is that it's all about the question you ask. So it's really important to know the right question. Otherwise, it can be really good or useless for you.
Yeah.
So if you really know, like even because if you know you can figure out like the answer to this specific question, like mathematical question. But if you know the question, ChatGPT will answer for you.
Right.
But if you're only looking for answer without having the actual question, they will not give you the answer. So this is true in like a video prompt. So it's really important to have very specific kind of prompt that AI clicks with. And this is just something that you get a hang of it as you use it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. 2 favorite questions. You already know one of them.
What is it?
If someone called you today and was like, "Hey, I really like what you're doing.
Yeah.
I like your restaurant. I'd like you to close shop, and I'd pay you as much money as you want."
How much money?
Let's say 2 million, 3 million, 5 million. I need you to close shop. You can either work for me or never do sushi again.
It depends on what. Honestly, it depends on what that person is asking me to do.
Okay.
I mean, if that
I want you to be my personal chef from now on.
personal chef, no,
Okay.
just for that person, no. Yeah.
$5 million and you don't do sushi again.
No. That can take away from me.
And then my last question for you, right, is you pass away today, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
I don't really think about legacy. That's interesting.
Or how do you want people to remember you by?
I want, I think, to be. I mean, this might sound very simple, but a little bit of inspiration.
Okay.
Because I don't think I'm very talented. Like I'm not super gifted. Like I knew it. I've always known that I played sports
Okay.
growing up, and I can fairly do really pretty good on any kind of sports. I can play soccer, tennis, baseball, if I spend time. But and it's really this is a really hard thing to accept. But to know that you don't have like the top notch gift.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So see, like if you look at like athletes, right? You can clearly see who have the real talent. Like if you look at Messi, like he's clearly gifted. So I've always known I don't have that. But with a little bit of effort, and if you think hard, I think you can do really much more than you can really ever think of. So, I mean, if that can be a motivation for someone to believe that they can do by believing in themselves and live up to their full potential, yeah, I think that would be cool.
To be an inspiration.
Yeah, inspiration.
Surely.
It's like, yeah, it doesn't take huge talent to be successful at what you're doing.
And then I said last question, but now I'm going to turn the tables a little bit.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So every time we go to dinner, we spend at least 2-3 hours
Yeah.
having dinner and chit-chatting.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for me?
What advice I have for you? So let's talk about this podcast, right?
Okay.
Advice. Okay. Okay. So what's your concept for the podcast right now?
Concept?
Like what's the one-liner that you have for the podcast?
Local businesses that are close to you. So what I mean is that, like, if I'm interviewing you and there's someone who's a chef somewhere, oh, I know him. Oh, it's not that far away.
Yeah.
I can start my own business if I just follow his route. Like, you're not looking at, for example, like Joe Rogan, PBD, The Rock, all of these people. They seem like they're far away.
Yeah.
My job is to keep them as close as possible to you. So that's my one liner. Local business entrepreneurs.
Orange County.
Orange County.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe a little outside of Orange County. Yeah.
Yeah, I think keep that. I think my advice would be for you would be like to keep that niche and just like focusing on really creating that community that appreciate what you make without thinking much about how much money this might make. It's kind of counterintuitive, but
I think the part is there's bills to be paid.
yeah.
Right.
Sure,
So it's
sure.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah. To some degree.
Yeah.
So. Okay. So keep my niche.
I would say so. I think niche is very, very. I think it always any business starts with a niche. No business starts with like a huge, massive market. It always starts with a niche.
Okay.
So, does it make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
I hope you had fun, man.
No, this was really great. Yeah.
So for anybody that wants to follow you or find you, what's your social handle that they can find you or do anything like that? If you could look at this camera and tell.
Yeah. Hi everyone. So I have a couple social media platform that I'm on. Chef.daiji on Instagram. That's chef.daiji, and then on TikTok it's Chef Daiji without a dot, and on YouTube as well, Chef Daiji. What else am I on? I think that's all.
Website?
Yeah, website, sure. Daiji, my first name Daiji, yachtclub.com. That's my dining experience company and website, and the restaurant Hiroshi is spelled as HIROSHI 328.com.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for joining with me. I hope you guys really learned something. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Until next time, we're on the outro. Appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate it, man.
Did you have fun?